There are a few things that won't ever have a hard time capturing my attention: soft cookies, Kingdom Hearts 4 announcements, and any game that promises a detective story. And our last one is the focus of today because of a mystery game called Duppy Detective Tasha, where you, as Tasha, starts by looking for her phone and somehow finds herself having to solve a murder mystery in the halfway market. This game from Jamaica-based studio Sprite Wrench has a demo that left a memorable impression on me in its short runtime. The Caribbean influence is bursting from minute one. Its dialogue and featuring spirits from Caribbean folklore especially hammering home that this comes from folks with roots in the region. Now, one especially interesting element of Duppy Detective Tasha, and specifically its composer, Chase Bethea, who you'll be meeting very shortly, is this new music genre that might be pioneering called Caribbean Noir, which sounds a little something like this. Not too bad, right? And to learn more about this not too bad emerging music genre, I sat down to chat with Chase Bethea about his process for developing the sound. In addition to learning more about his process for composing game music more generally, considering that he has about a decade of experience working in the space. And before we get this thing rolling, please remember, if you enjoy anything that you hear today, consider leaving a like, subscribe to either my YouTube channel to get more game coverage like this in video form, or if you want something that's a bit more regular, go to my website exalclaw.com, where you'll see more written features about games, such as game criticism, reviews, maybe me honing in a specific element of a game, other interviews that don't make it to video, or that are just snippets of the video so you can figure out when it gets launched a bit earlier, and sometimes the occasional news piece. Subscribing to the website especially is what I'm interested in, since that's what I'm putting a lot of attention to right now. Subscribing makes sure that the next article goes straight into your inbox and helps me measure how much the audience is actually growing at the site. Alright, that's enough from me. Sit back, relax, enjoy the interview with Chase Bethea. First things first, Chase, thank you for joining me for today. I'd love for you to tell people about yourself for a moment, how you got started in game composing, and how it brought you to talk or composing for the game we're going to talk a little bit about today, Duppy Detective Tasha.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Chase Bethea. I'm a multi award winning video game composer and technical music designer. I've been working in the industry for 15 years now and shipped over 30 games thus far. I got started working in games, a short version to tell the story many different ways and never know which way I'm going to tell it again. But the short version is that I did have an internship at a game studio in Culver City in Los Angeles, or California, Culver City, California, rather, in the municipal of Los Angeles. And then that internship fizzled out, and I got really curious still to work on games. And then I bought a book called The Complete Guide to Game Audio by Aaron Marks, second edition. I read half of the book. I did a demo. I wrote an extra demo well, I had some portfolio work. I sent that in. Then I did an extra demo of my work. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got paid and shipped my first game title called Electron Flux on Android, not the one on Steam that came out 5 years ago,
Oh, okay. Thank you for
6 years
sharing
ago.
that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so then how did you get attached to the project that we're talking about today with Duppy Detective Tasha? My understanding you're working with Sprite Wrench, the studio that's based in Jamaica. This isn't the first time you're working with them either, right?
No, so big love to Glenn Henry of Sprite Wrench. This is, I believe, our fourth collaboration.
Oh
We
my.
first started working together on Quest Like Pocket, which got a mention in the Pocket Gamer, so which was pretty cool, and that was part of the big indie pitch. And so we did Quest Like Pocket, and that was what I described like a Monster Hunter slash Pokemon hybrid game, and that also released on Android. Very fun, very really cool. I did adaptive music design, which is it ties to the mechanics, but it's in a rhythmic form. And
Okay.
so we did that together. Then we shipped On the Power of Parrots, and that ended up winning my gold best original soundtrack for that game, which is a game about playing as AI but convincing humanity that you're not AI. And it was based off of a scholastic paper that's based off of parrots and language models. And so Glenn had taken that concept and then taken some of the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on Game Boy and the Oracle of Ages Seasons type of puzzle and then put that mechanic together. And then that's how we end up working on that game together. And then we did Sunken Stones, which was tasked to bring the actual sound of Caribbean, but pirates that actually reside in the Caribbean, not Pirates of the Caribbean, and really
Mm.
cultivate that actual sound of what it's like. So, what is an orchestral sound of in the Caribbean like sound be and the textures? And with my family mostly being my mom's side from Barbados and Glenn being
Okay.
from Jamaica, this is how I was able to kind of breed in that sound and conflate and put those things together, and then we were able to ship that. And that actually just came out on on. It was already released on Steam, but it just got a mobile release, I think, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay,
So that's
nice.
pretty fun. And then now we're here with Duppy Detective Tasha.
Nice, thank you. And speaking of Duppy Detective Tasha, now something I wanted to ask you about was I saw on Blue Sky that the label that you were giving the genre for this music was Caribbean Noir. And
Hmm.
listening to it, I think that's actually a very fitting name. I can recognize some of the beats that you might hear in any type of detective story, but distinctly with the Caribbean flavor. But I'd love for you to elaborate a bit more on how you came to that genre. When you describe it like that, what are you hoping people think of when they first think of that? What kind of soundscape are you hoping they imagine?
Right. So the great one of the great things working with Glenn is that I'm always pushed in a new direction of things that I'm not trying to pioneer in, but ends up being pioneering in. And Sunken Stones was that to kind of bring the sound back of that realm. And then previously it was bringing bossa nova to the 21st century and like
Mm,
an all game soundtrack. So I seem to be having this pattern and this flow of just making it giving it more of a sonic identity, but then even longevity within years to come. And so what it ended up breeding was that it's based in the Caribbean and with our background of that being, but we don't know if there's film noir and we know what that sound is, but what is the undertones of that? And so I end up actually not thinking I'm thinking, well, what is this going to sound like? It has to be a detective sound from that space, like this
right.
culture. Not we're not appropriating anything else. We're actually creating something that's unique and because it's just innate within us to do. So I was thinking, what are the foundations of the Caribbean? Well, we definitely have rhythms and we definitely have bass lines. And so I've been writing some of the bass lines mostly on the keyboard, the piano,
Okay.
because that's my second instrument. So then I went to it's on my YouTube channel. I went to Guitar Center and I took the track, I made like a foundation track of just rhythms of a feeling of the flow. Okay, and that sounds good. And that was based off of the trailer that I did because I scored the original trailer that you see, and that's also within the game how it opens. I took that, put it on my phone, link up for Bluetooth headphones, and then I just went to the music store. If anyone's not familiar with Guitar Center is in the States, it's just mostly just a music store with a lot of instruments. I just picked up a bass, was thinking, okay, I need to see what this feels like for real because I'm going to write this, but I need to actually get an actual feeling of what it would be to perform this. And I whatever I wrote was end up being the bass line for Halfway Market. And so I
Oh,
left the
wow.
store and then it was with me for days and I worked on it and I was thinking, I need that bass. And when I went back, the bass was gone. Every other bass was there, but that one. And
Oh
I
my
say, okay. So
goodness.
then I found it online and I ordered it. And then so I bought the bass. And so it resides with me here. So the bass that I actually played is going to be the sound that carries Caribbean Noir overall. And I'm very proud of this because it's just something that's unique and it gives that sonic identity, which I preach about any game that I'm scoring, because you don't have to be in the room to see what the game is as long as you know what the sound is.
Mm, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And it's hilarious that you had to kind of go through all those hoops to find the instrument that would ultimately give you the sound you're looking for, but I'm glad it worked out that way.
Yeah, I me too. It's not a bad thing. I own a lot of instruments and I end up playing a lot of stuff, but this is what gives it the character and I'm very excited for it because it could just be another virtual sampled instrument and played on the keyboard and then that but be that. But now there's some etymology behind it. And now this bass that I have is the original thing that pioneered Caribbean Noir if anyone's to create this type of music after me going forward.
Right, nice. And actually, kind of speaking about that sense of pioneering for a second, when it comes to just looking at the game space generally, how often are you seeing what you would even consider music that fits that Caribbean vibe, or what you would usually associate with it when you're even composing with that in mind yourself?
Oh, this is such a crazy dynamic in terms of perspective because I don't see anything really that typically fits stuff that well. I think
Hmm.
things are really produced well at this stage and it sounds good, but I'm not feeling that it's dynamically fitting what it should. And this is just a personal opinion. This is artist completely subjective. But I play games first. So I'm a player first, so I really
Okay.
know game design first and music second, very closely though. They're just right there.
Neck and neck.
They're not that far. So,
Okay.
but I've been playing games. I had a game first before I start writing music for games. Now that came just right after. So I it's very rare to see, and unfortunately, it's like with my schedule, I don't get a lot of times to play more games than are out of the realm of the ones I'm working on for research.
Hmm.
So the ones that I choose are the ones that I feel are going to help the mechanics and the music design be enhanced even further. And if it was just more time that I allocated for maybe I would say semi-modern independent games and possibly, but I a lot of things I'm able to kind of discern very quickly and see because I just have a really strong musical ear and I have a really good sense of what game design should feel like and should be like. And that is just like I said, my subjective opinion of many years of experience.
Understandable. Yeah, 15 years of experience both as a player and a composer. More as a player, in fact, actually, from the way you're talking, so I can understand that. So, actually, with that in mind, since you're kind of not seeing that often, speaking a little bit more to your own experience, you're not even just working on Duppy Detective Tasha, you're also, having seen some in a recent interview you did, you're also working on a game called Windrush Tales, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you're
How
actually
do you
working
find
on.
out about that?
I did my research.
I love
Um,
it. I love it.
yeah. So with that in mind, you're actually kind of working on a couple of different games that are distinctly about the Caribbean at the end of the day. And so, kind of being in that space, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what kind of considerations you're making, bringing your culture to the game space. What do you find yourself thinking about when it's being received by a larger audience, ideally by a larger audience?
When I think about it being received by the larger audience, I'm not really sure yet because it hasn't been released.
Mm.
But what I'm thinking conceptually from the production stages, I was very fortunate to be to connected with Chella Ramanana and Corey Brotherson. I listened to a podcast and found out that Chella was going to reach out to Corey, and that Corey has a background with being from the Caribbean. And that is what got me. I'm thinking like, oh wait, I have to be on this. I have to be on. I'm the person. I'm the one. I have the
I'm the
background. I was
guy. I'm
my
the
family
guy.
is from Barbados. Like I got my the thing right here. It says
Oh
Barbados.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
is my grandmother's
you're repping
bracelet
it.
right here.
Yeah, as you
I was
should.
right, and that's my upbringing. That's what I know. And so I was thinking like, oh, of course, this is I could do this. This is I would. I feel like it. And it's just a personal opinion. If you don't have the person who comes from the background, you're not. It's not going to be 100% authentic, and there's that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take anything away from those who can get close to the sound, who isn't from there, who doesn't really know and doesn't have the background. It doesn't take that away at all. But there's a specific connection that I feel is innate within us that we're able to bring some more authenticity for that really matters. And this is beyond the stereotypes of just like, oh, well, you make beats. It's like that's not the connection I'm talking about. This is
Right.
from the cultural background of yeah, my family, my great grandmother, my grandmother, my great grandmother's mother, we all stem from the island. We all know the history and the style and what these things are. So when you have that and you're putting something Windrush Shills is a historical game. I'm not sure if you know because it's the first of its kind. It's there's never been a game about the Windrush movement ever,
Right. And
ever.
just actually for a moment, I did a little bit of research myself, but for people that aren't familiar with the Runner's movement, I'd love for you to talk to about it to the ability that you're able to and comfort that you like to.
Yeah, so there just in short, the folks from the Caribbean were brought up to Great Britain to help restore that country after the Second World War. And they were offered a they were offered a nice compensation of a better lifestyle of such to enact within those services and those duties. But also within that time, we're dealing with racism and discrimination and segregation, even still in Great Britain. And so these are the stories of the people that had to overcome. And Chella and the the team, along with that, give me a second. I'm thinking. I have to
No
remember.
problem.
Claire, Chella and Claire did an amazing job, and also the other parts of the team. Like I said, Corey doing the writing and Chella doing in tandem with the writing and such. But Claire and the others putting together the research team to talk to those who were adjacent, like either the second gen or the first gen, to tell their stories about what it was from the time and incorporate that into the game. And my job is to take over 50% of that and enhance the experience with the narrative storytelling, with that, with it being subconscious, but also giving homage and paying proper respect to the sound of that era, that time, what
Right.
they were listening to, and then incorporating it into this time period to connect the bridge. It's a massive task. It's like I was saying with On the Peril of Parrots. There hasn't been a complete game soundtrack of straight bossa nova and then it being brought into this period and then put into a game. It was just okay, yeah, I got to study these people who did it in that time, but then modernize it for this time and then fit it into multiple art forms that has to align with the storytelling, the game mechanics, the design, the narrative design, the art style, and the authenticity of it all, and pull this story together and bring it. And it's a testament to it because it's in the British Library today.
Right. Yeah, I saw that you had mentioned that before, actually. Thank you for sharing all that, because that is quite, like you said, not necessarily an intimidating task. I don't want to put that word in your mouth, but it is a massive one. It involves a lot, which
Mm.
actually does lead me to another question I had, referring to something you talked about earlier with researching games or researching, playing games that you're doing for research. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what that process does look like, because you're researching the games, I'm assuming, to get a sense of different soundscapes that work with something, but you're also sounds like you're doing research here to understand what that time period sounded like. What does that look like in practice?
For Windrush, there isn't any research because we're creating it, right? We
Right.
are the residents. So it's only just listening to Lord Kitchener or other very iconic artists of our culture and feeling and getting the idea of that, and then me taking it to the next step and creating dynamic music design for when, even though it's a narrative, the music systems are going to subdue, they're going to filter, and so that you can really feel that you're part of the story. It's not just game loops, it's just something specific that goes into it. And my second book that I'm going to be doing in terms of the research is how these games have done it in the past, because I've never been offered a full-time position at any game studio before. So I had to
Hmm.
figure it out as a freelancing contractor by just using my ears and my intellect that I have and the acumen that I pull from by playing the games. With I can speak to mostly like Sunken Stones, for example. I pulled out from my massive game collection Sid Meier's Pirates.
Oh,
I bought
okay.
Black Flag, Assassin's Creed,
Oh,
Risen 2,
okay.
and Escape from Monkey Island on PS2 and Legend of the Black Buccaneer on PS2. And I played those games to get a feel of, okay, these are the pirate games. These are the ones that have come out. What are the games doing differently? What do I feel that the art is saying to me in all art forms from every level of discipline that is incorporated with it? And then I just take that in, I absorb it, and then sit with it for a few days. Or if I'm feeling something truly inspiring, it's not just music, like I said, because I'm a game player first. I'm taking
Right.
in all the art forms. I'm taking in all the art form. I'm just sitting as the game player because something's going to connect with me. I don't know what it is, but that's part of. I'm excited to play a game, right? I'm
Yeah.
excited to just
Yeah.
see. Whoa, okay. Why did you? What were they thinking about when they made this? Why is it moving this way? What's going on here? Oh, why is that? Okay, now why is that transition? Oh, okay, what is happening here? Okay, why is that cutscene? And I'm asking myself a bunch of questions because I'm very naturally inquisitive. And then I just come now I don't know what to do. I'm not intimidated. I'm trying to think about, okay, what is our game saying? Okay, why does this feel this way? Okay, what if we do this and what if we do that? And then as long as I know what some of the instrument palette is, then I'm able to kind of build from there and go. And with like I actually played Hook on Game Boy for the
Okay.
inspiration for Sunken Stones. No one would ever think that. But there's something in Hook that I really, first of all, I love the movie, but I didn't even watch the movie. I should own it. But I played the game. I remember playing the game one game. I was like, there was something in this game that was really cool. And I thought about what it was. And then so when I went back and played it, I instantly started like, okay, I'm gonna have to translate what that is into this. And then my arrangement mind starts to come into play. And then I just start to
Hmm.
kind of just sculpt. And that's really how it comes together.
Wow, that's really cool. And just like so I have an understanding of this, when you're playing these games and that arrangement part of this starts happening, are you finding yourself like stopping mid game to take down notes and be like, oh my god, what are they actually doing in this section? Are you also thinking about the way it's like you mentioned before, marrying the gameplay elements with those music in those moments? Because I understand when you're composing music for a game, you're not really just thinking about singular instances. You're kind of on a certain level having to be thinking about the entire project, what players will be doing in a certain moment. So how are you making sure that the moments that you want the music to kind of not even necessarily be grabbing attention, but are relatively predicting how a player is supposed to be feeling in a moment and making sure your music's kind of up to the task as you're playing the game without it being not even necessarily distracting, but taking them out of the moment?
I'm not when I'm playing the game, I'm not taking notes necessarily like pen and paper. I'm just mostly mentally thinking about something. And then when I'm
Okay.
sitting at the process, then archive it and pull it out of my mind and think, oh, okay, it was this or it was that. And if I forgot, then I might have to go back, and that's not really too bad as long as the feeling of it. But to be conspicuous, it's mostly a mood feeling overall. I it varies with me. So I'm not sure if if there was a brighter feeling in myself of I'm feeling like I should write something, then
Mm,
it will come more naturally. If it feels like I have to do this, then there's going to be a different feeling that comes out of it. But the overall experience is what I call the chip away. So I think about, okay, well, just write four measures. And if I write four measures and then I'm inspired and it's working for texturally whatever instruments I'm starting with, then I expand it to eight measures. And if it's not, and then if it's eight measures and it's feeling good, then I get to 16 measures, because I'm not thinking about the minutes of music. I'm thinking about getting through the measure parts.
okay.
And then I'm sculpting what is it, because I'm still painting, I'm still sculpting, I'm still figuring out what this is overall. Once I know sonically, okay, everything is here. I don't feel like I'm missing any instruments. I don't feel like there's any things in the frequency spectrum and range that's going on. Then I'm able to tighten it up and then say, okay, when I'm listening, this is called the referencing the mix overall. So I'm thinking, oh, that
Okay.
instrument stands up too much. Okay, bring that down in volume. Oh, I don't like that spot there. Oh, it should drop here. Oh, it should come back in here. This is when the arrangement part happens. And then I'm thinking, because now I'm thinking, oh, if I was in the other room, which I will do, I will go to another room and I'll listen, because I'm looking for sonic identity. And then if everything is balanced, and if I'm doing something, maybe I decide to do laundry or do go tidy up around somewhere in the house. If nothing bothers me, I know the mix is done. If something bothers me, I
Nice.
come right back and I start chipping away or sculpting away or adjusting and refining or adding, because I know, okay, it needs this. Okay, if it's that and that. But like I know it's done when I don't have anything to adjust and I'm able to listen to it multiple times on loop without saying okay. And that's just day one. If I'm able to do it after day 2 and 3, then I know it's done for sure. I'm able to sculpt it down and then dynamically add in the systems of, okay, well, it's going to do this here at this certain game mechanic, and then when this game mechanic happens with this part, then this music section comes in, and then go from there. But I test all of that before I put it into the game. I figured out how to do that within my music software.
Wow, very cool. This whole process sounds very natural as you're speaking. Like you called it like a mood, almost like a. I don't want to use the word vibe, but like a
I
mood as
don't
it
either.
came from you.
I don't
I saw
either.
your
I don't.
body.
I didn't want
Saw
to
your
say mood
body.
either, but it is actual like proper term mood. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that does fit it though, because the way you describe it of going to the other room, like having an ear open to see what sounds out of place while still doing other tasks. That is a very natural way of like trying to understand what fits naturally. Because even when I think about my own music experiences, when I'm listening to stuff, like obviously something will capture me. Maybe I'll stop in whatever task I'm doing and really start feeling something. But like something I can tell is good is when I know for a fact, oh, this just I have no notes. This is just I'm listening to it. I can go about my day while enjoying this, so I can understand how this process comes to be. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to bring it back to Duppy Detective Tasha for a second, though, speaking a little bit to your own background, I'd love to hear what your own experience with Caribbean folklore is a bit, because that's kind of at the centerpiece of Duppy Detective Tasha, with her going to the spirit world, having to solve a bit of a murder mystery while also looking for her phone of all things during this time. So, just in your own experience, what was that? Do you have a lot of experience with Caribbean folklore with your background, with your family from Barbados? Is it, where did you learn anything about it in the process of making this game?
No, so this I am learning about the process. I don't have too much experience. My grandmother shared like certain superstitions
Okay.
on like I only know like and off the top of my mind I can't think of those that are mentioned, but one of them I know is like a water spirit for sure. But the superstitions are typically things that I can't even describe to you that are not even mentioned in the game. They're really dark stuff. It's like things that I can't repeat to you because I put it out my mind because it used to kind of like drive me a bit crazy as a child because I was thinking like, don't do that, 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 don't do that. Grandma said, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. So now I'm a lot older and I could repeat it to you because it's really like
Understandable.
my
I'll take
grandma
your
was just
word
supposed
for
to
it.
like, hey, no, like you don't want to, and I was like, yeah. We
I
just
get
leaving
you.
it there. It's just the feeling of it that you're supposed to get, and then it comes comes around as it should. But it's very unique in its own right for sure.
Right, nice. So then, actually, how about from a music perspective? Does your family have a lot of music outside of just like your own background with and having spent a lot of time with it? What's your family's relationship with Caribbean music or just music more generally?
Yeah, my grandmother, wow, my grandmother would play a lot of calypso in the house, and so calypso is mostly my strong suit of that. You know, you have the reggae and stuff, but calypso is really what I know very well. And
Okay.
she would have, and you know, she did play some Lord Kitchener as well, and some other type of artists, and too. And so that's what I'm really pulling from is those I was thinking like, oh yeah, the Untouchables, like everything's coming to me now. Like I have like CDs of her stuff. I was
Right.
thinking that of stuff she would just play in the house and things that I would hear as a child, and that's where I'm able to kind of pull in those references in my mind, along with the references that Glenn is able to provide for me too. That's the tough part. I would have to say is conflating it because it's not going to be direct. It's supposed to feel familiar, but it's not supposed to be familiar. It's supposed to feel slightly new, but
Okay.
at this, so it's that balance that I play in between. Like, okay, like as long as you are doing this, your body's that, then I have what I did my job.
Nice.
That's really what's supposed to happen because that's the feeling that I'm getting is that we're supposed to be putting into the form. Remember, it's supposed to be a subconscious feeling overall, but I'm still carrying over 50% of it at the same time. It's a very fine line.
No, that makes sense. It sounds like a fun line to play, but it's interesting to hear about those inspirations that still ended up coming in between what you already had from your background and what Glenn offered as an inspiration as well. I can see how everything
Yes.
kind of comes together and you need to find a through line for whatever fits for Duppy Detective Tasha best. I know we're
Yes.
kind of hitting a little close to time, but I'd love to ask just as a broader question, are there any other inspirations that you have, not just for Duppy Detective Tasha, but for your approach to composing for game music more generally? Any specific soundtracks that you're like, oh, this is the one. Anytime anyone's like, what's a good video game soundtrack? This is one of the ones I have to put people on.
Oh, it's really hard to say, and there's so many. I did an article many years ago. I can't even find it on my website of like 50 game soundtracks that I think someone
Oh,
asked me when I was at uni. That he was like, "Dude, what are the top 50 soundtracks I should know about? Go!" And I was thinking, "Man, I'm gonna take my time with this. No, go. You can. I'll get it to you when I'm ready." And I got, I got it, but I can't even find it. I put all that time into it. I can't even find it. I keep saying I'm gonna look for it. I think I might have just figured out saying out loud how I could do this, but it's really tough. I have like the typical ones that I always mention, which is talk about all the dinosaurs on Game Boy, Tomb Raider 1996 on PlayStation, Beyond Oasis on Sega Genesis, big love to Link's Awakening, I guess, on Game Boy.
okay.
And I also have Batman Arkham City on PS3. And especially that with that dynamic music system, if you want to learn something, like that's definitely one to like really dive into. And I let's have this Ridge Racer R4. There's Hitman on PS2.
Okay.
Those those are the classic ones that I feel that you know they'll give you an idea in terms of what my ears like and what I like to kind of. I'm not always like going back to them, but these are the things that give me some really good. Well, that I grew up with Final Fantasy Legend 2 on Game Boy as well, Batman Forever on Game Boy, and I was thinking about some other titles. What was the other ones? I know the other system. Oh yeah, what's that one on Dreamcast? Echo Defender of the Future
Okay.
on
Echo Defender of the
Dreamcast.
Future. I think I've definitely have not played it, but I know I've heard this title for recently for some reason, so I gotta think about that.
Yeah, as you could tell, I'm not. And yeah, like I said, there's you have Final Fantasy 7, you have Final Fantasy 10, but notice I didn't say those first because I'm one. I even went to a game store today. I'm thinking like I need a new Game Boy game, So I want to just find, because I just want to turn it on and turn it off. I don't want to wait for the update. I don't want to plug some TV on. Just want to be in the bed or sit on the couch and then just play something and then just have a good feeling for like 5-15 minutes. And then when I'm done, like that's it. Unless I get really into it, and that's going to be a plus, then that's a plus.
Hmm.
But that's how it used to be. I miss seeing the box and look at the thing or behind the cabinet and just taking a risk and be like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be that because I'm not gonna get another game for about 6 months, or when the next report card comes out or whatever that is.
Oh,
So
that's so
I
real.
have
Yeah.
to, I take that to heart, and I'm back in that feeling of, okay, yeah, this is going to be. And trust me, I have a lot of games to get through, and I know how I'm going to get through them. But right now, I'm just penchant to play something that is just really quick and that I can just really enjoy and that I want to be enamored with, like I used to be when I was a child.
No, I completely get that. I think I recently got the yellow handheld from Panic, the Playdate.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, handheld. Yeah, and like that's literally the reason I got it. Just something that I can turn on quickly, a single use device just for gaming that gives me the feeling that I had when, for me, I did have a Game Boy, but I think the handheld that really captured the feeling you described for me was a Nintendo DS. I had that thing everywhere. I carried it around with me like it was a wallet. So it was just, I completely understand just the need to have something that doesn't give you any of the update stuff, none of the extra startups, just turn on, start playing.
Start playing. If I miss a password, oops, I might just take a screenshot. Thankfully, I have phones now for that.
Exactly.
But if hopefully, because not every game has like the save states and stuff, but just, yeah, just something just really light, simple, just escape for a little bit and just have like a nice little breather and then just chill out. And yeah, that's I'm glad you had that. I'm glad you had that.
No problem, no problem. Well, that brings us to about time. Chase, thank you for joining me today. Where can people find you? What would you like them to know about what project you got next for them?
Yeah, I'm going to be live performing. It's a very unique live performance. I'm headlining at this concert event called Symphonic Distortion in Las Vegas. It's going to be May 23rd. Tickets are available now, and you can find them on my website. One of the news things, or I'll be posting about it on my Blue Sky, Chase Bethea, or my YouTube, Chase Bethea, or what's the other one? I'm rarely on Twitter X, but I might post it on there as well. So just look out that. But if you just Google me, I'm going to be making more posts about it as well. But you can definitely support me on chasebethea.bandcamp.com. That is the best way to do the support. Yes, I have the music on streaming sites, but I'm going to be pulling that back. And so you'll have to hear the actual soundtracks from there first. I will be posting singles on there first. I will be promoting those soundtracks on there first. We've got Duppy Detective Tashia. Look out for Star Dander School for Witches. I'm going to be trying to get that out this year. I know I keep saying every year. I'm really trying. It's done. It's been done for 3 years. I know you guys want it, but it's done. I'm hopefully having more live performances. And we also have Protostar and we also have Portal Brawlers as for the soundtracks to come out. Very different styles of music. One is folk hybrid, one is a chiptune hybrid. We've also got Cribber Noir from Deputy Detective Tasha, and then Protostar is I couldn't even tell you what that genre is yet because the developer of that, Marvin Thompson, is the producer. He has me in this state of just the references for what that goes on, but it's supposed to be influenced by Mega Man X, and I didn't
No.
take any influence from Mega Man X at all, except for just playing the game. Just playing the game. No music, no music references at all. That he
Okay.
gave me references that was completely left field. Is that between Glenn, Marvin, and Benjamin of Crystal Spider, who I'm working with Portal Brawlers, they have pushed me into a new sound that I have never done before in that regard. When I was with
Okay.
the other developer from the previous games that I worked on, and that did Star Dana School for Witches, that was the last sound I think I got pushed into like a new sound of that was different. But otherwise, it was doing my own thing. But these folks actually pushed me in a direction based off the references and the style of going on that I've been most challenged, and I'm so grateful for.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Please, everyone, check out Chase on all the places that he just mentioned, especially Bandcamp. I'm a big supporter of Bandcamp nowadays, so please check him out there. And Chase, once again, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Wallace. Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.